Hello, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome to Evolving Truths. My name is Alexus, and Shannon is my co host and my mom. And to all of those that are coming back for this next episode, thank you so much for being here. Today's conversation is all about the days that you just do not feel like yourself. We all have them. You feel off. So, on these days, what do we say to ourselves? How do we shift our mindset so we don't get caught into a series of 2, 3, 4 days of not feeling good? Fair warning, this is a very honest conversation, so there is a little bit more language than we've been having in our last few episodes. Oh, and I'm convinced that I basically solve world peace in this conversation. Without further delay, I present to you episode 4 of Evolving Truths. How are you?
I'm all right.
Same, girl. Same.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. It's just, I'm a little bit of an off day. I haven't done any of the stuff that I needed to do, and I don't really have any reason of why I've not done it. I've just not done it, except show up here with you.
Honestly, I feel like that's the most important part for me personally. I can't speak for you. I don't necessarily know your big life goals, but I certainly know mine. And showing up to this feels like the most important thing I could be doing right now. Also, love that you're having a glass of wine because I am partaking in my own way. And just today is a day.
And I'm eating honey roasted peanuts and trying not to chew into the microphone because those are yummy. And yeah, it's weird.
Why is today a day? Well, okay. In preparing for this episode, I have been thinking about so many things, but we are going to get to the point where we talk about inspiration. Except I feel like I have 4 different lines that all tie to inspiration. And because I have learned how to tell stories by listening to you, I feel like I have to explain each line individually before I get to the point. And I mean that in a loving way.
I was just going to say you're welcome.
Thanks. So last week we talked about the accident and then feeling good, no big deal, whatever. And today I wake up with a headache. Obviously, I have feelings about it.
Of course.
It sucks. It hasn't progressively gotten worse because I took my rescue medication, which is what I'm supposed to do. But I also can tell that the rescue medication isn't kicking it completely, which just means that in 24 hours, I will take another dose. But I have so many beautiful things that I want to be working on. And in past lives, I would have said, I have so many things to be working on. They wouldn't necessarily have felt beautiful or loving the way that my life does now, but I still would have said, I have things that I need to be doing and become this little stress case about it, which ends up compounding the effects. In the past, I would have done what I needed to do to the point that I could rest or just push through and suffer, depending on what age we're having this conversation about myself. And today, saying I have so many beautiful things I need to do. And I also have so many adulting things that I need to do. But regardless of those, choosing or having the ability to acknowledge, well, your body is telling you that today is not the day for those things. And learning to sit in these pauses of limitation, regardless of how shitty it is. You are sitting in a moment that still matters and is important and is potentially teaching you something. And maybe that lesson is rest.
Right. Well, and recognizing that all things we experience in life are part of it. We have these times when things don't feel as good, or we don't feel as good, or we've over obligated ourselves and now we're trying to figure that out. But being able to look at and find something to be grateful for, I think that's an important thing. And recognizing too that being able to just take a day or have a day where we really don't get much done and we're not necessarily going to suffer a lot of consequences from that. There's privilege in that. Not everyone has that. And there have been times in our lives when we weren't in this space where we had the privilege to do that or the ability to do that. So being grateful that we have that now, thinking back to those times when we didn't have it as much and couldn't necessarily do it in this way, what were little things we still could do to still acknowledge, okay, I'm in this space. It feels kind of shitty right now. I'm not enjoying it. What sort of shift do we want to do? And even just sitting in it for a while. All emotions are valid. Acknowledging all of them, stay with them.
Oh yeah, this is like the third time today that I've almost cried, like thinking about the fact that I have a headache again. But the good news is that my last one was 2 months ago.
Yeah,
So
that's huge.
that's a really big deal. And I appreciate you saying the privilege part because, yes, I'm extremely fortunate to be in the set of circumstances that I'm in right now. But I also have busted my ass to have this set of circumstances. I have been in the situation where I didn't have the means or the confidence or the ability or the experience to be here right now, which gives me a deeper gratitude for all those terrible times. Those times when you really don't know how you're going to keep going, but somehow just do. When I think about resiliency, endurance, and perseverance, how do you explain you just put one foot in front of the other? Like 99% of the time when I'm in the shit, somehow it still just keeps going. And actually, as I'm talking about this, I'm realizing that that is what all of the manifestations and teachings about being in the flow are. Holy shit, we are about to blow up the world. I am about to go down a rabbit hole. So, mom,
Buckle up.
yeah, okay, interrupt me because we're going to have to break up these thoughts. Holy crap. Okay, this is very exciting. I got to figure out where to start.
Let's go.
Okay. When do people turn to the universe, God, whatever their belief is? When do people turn to something that is outside of them for answers? I'm asking.
Well, I think it depends on how much of a believer you are. For the most part, though, when we think
Even
of that or
think
hear,
of it
well,
like a non-believer. At
so
what point would a non-believer turn to something outside of themselves?
yeah, when something's hard in their life or something catastrophic happens, something they feel like they can't handle, when something's hard.
When we are completely brought to our knees.
Right.
Then somehow we figure it out. One thing at a time, one day at a time, we just keep going because we know that we have to, and we're not thinking about it. We are just doing the actions.
Right.
We build this snowball of effect of a momentum, and it continues to get better. We keep facing challenges. The challenges don't go away. But we're moving, and you can feel that difference over an extended period of time. And for different people, it may be 6 years, and for other people, it might be 2 or 10 or 15 or 50.
Sure. Or 6 months.
Totally. And as it starts to get better, we're like, oh, I'm going to direct my life in this direction. And this is how I'm going to get there. I'm going to set these goals. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to take control over my process of achievement. So now we're in the driver's seat of our life and things start to not run as smoothly. This doesn't work out. So we got to figure out how to maneuver, and we become more reactive to what's happening around us. We're responding to our environment. And for some reason, our environment continues to become more and more chaotic the more we're trying to control and do and harness and drive. So, what these brilliant people have figured out is to teach people to live in the mindset of when we were on our knees and surrendering the how to the powers that be with positive thoughts.
Right. People will turn to that higher being when they are in that crisis state or brought to their knees. Then it's like, okay, one foot in front of the other. They just start to move forward again and let that piece go of,
Yeah.
I had turned to whatever that belief is. But more I think about it in terms of that belief, the universe power that's pulling all of us also sits with us all. Like we've all got that. So them being able to hit this spot going, okay, I've got to do something. And mentally, emotionally, they do look to something else, but really it's them moving forward with what we've all been given as gifts. We have this strength and ability within us. We can do that.
We all can do it. That's the point.
We look for something, or we look to make a change in our life when we have been dropped to our knees. Sometimes that's forced, right? But how come we don't stop and take time when things are good in our life, then going, is there something else, right? And I'm not on my knees. I'm not. How much better could that be for us as individuals, for our family, for our friends, for our communities, for the world as a whole, if we could figure out to make those changes when we're sitting in good spaces?
Yes, because that is how we continue to level up. That is the freaking tree. That is the evolution of human beings in a positive direction. That is the healing of the earth. That is the emotional revolution that people are talking about these days.
Yep. I like it.
Wow, that was amazing.
That was fun. It was a fun rabbit hole.
I truly believe that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I have no words. I can't even.
Yay.
So I guess that's another thread of inspiration, which I'm so glad. I knew they were all tied together because that came up naturally and got way more progressive than I had even gotten by myself earlier today when I was thinking about this conversation. That was so cool.
That was very cool.
Okay. So those are my first 2 points. Acknowledging where I'm at as part of the pause. And it sucks. And being able to say, I am still grateful. I am still joyous. I am still well as a person. And today I have a headache.
Right.
That is a big deal.
Well, I think valuing yourself enough to do what it is that you need to do for yourself.
Oh, that's it. And not freaking beating myself up for it. Like,
right.
Oh my goodness, I can't even tell you how grateful I am today to not be inflicting psychological pain on myself for not accomplishing everything that was on my to-do list. Because I already know it's just straight up not going to get done.
Right.
And I used to be so vicious in my mind and thoughts.
Yeah.
That is freaking emotional freedom, if I could ever think of it.
Yeah. Growth to freedom. I love that at the age you are, you're already getting to recognize that. I think that it's getting talked about a lot more, and people even younger than you are starting to think about these things and hopefully working towards them. But definitely seeing your generation coming into that a lot more. There's some generations before both of us that never learned that lesson, right? Life was always lived as a martyr, or I couldn't do because of this. So coming to a space of valuing yourself enough to go, no, I think that's great. That needs to be spread and talked about, and people figuring out what support they need to do that for themselves.
I think we're the woke gen. That's what I want to. I don't even know if that's a thing. I just made it up as we're having this conversation, but I want to be the woke generation, or at least part of the revolution of it, because I believe that is the only way the earth will heal. That is the only way that the human race and population gets to proceed for the long run. And I'm so grateful that you brought up the generational thing. I don't know if I sent it to you on Instagram or maybe TikTok. I thought I saw a meme somewhere at some point in time in my life of scrolling.
A meme? What?
And it said or acknowledged, I'm not just breaking family generational traumas or habits or behaviors. I'm breaking civilization generational, like do you understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Am I putting it on a grand enough scale?
It's pretty grand.
But it's true.
It is true.
And that is a lot of work. And the only way we get to do it as a civilization, because it is so grand and so big, is as a collective.
That is true. We've got to start in our sphere of influence, and then we hope that grows. And then people that are in that sphere of influence, they have their sphere of influence, and it keeps going.
When
Right.
enough people are spreading positivity and love and like doing things from a healed place. Oh my God, I can't even imagine that world. It's so exciting.
That is exciting.
Dare I say paradise, Shannon?
Sure, if you'd like to.
Or heaven.
I mean, I think some people think that, right? Yeah.
It'll be like a euphoria. Is that the right word?
Yeah. I think about people who spend their time thinking up schemes to defraud other people, whether it's older people or internet scams or whatever it is. The creativity that they had to have and the time and effort that they have to put into that negative behavior. Instead, what if they took that and put that to something good?
Because they're hurting somehow.
Well, sure. I mean, girl,
What
we
if
can
we
go
talk
into
about that first?
we can go into a whole other topic in that space if we want to. But what I'm trying to say is when we talk about energy and creativity, if people would take that and put that towards something good, like what a huge difference that would make alone,
Yeah,
right?
you're saying that, and I'm telling you the how. The
Yeah.
how is they listen to the Evolving Truths podcast and episode number 4 and figure out that they want to heal their hearts. And naturally, as they're healing their emotions, they will start to do good in the world.
I like it. I do think we should put a small, remember that medical disclaimer you put on one a few times ago when we were talking about
Overcoming fear.
overcoming fear. I like we might just need a small disclaimer here saying, you know, I'm not sure what the disclaimer would be, but I love saying that episode number 4 of Evolving Truths could fix everything. I don't know if it's quite
We're
that
solving
possible.
the world's problems, Mom.
But-
We are solving the world's problems. I just fixed it.
Do you remember when your dad and one of his good friends would be out? They'd be chatting, and that was pretty much always their line, their tagline, like, we're solving the world's problems. We got this right here. You saying that kind of took me back a handful of years, quite a few years. Like we're going to go back way back. That's what you just did. But yes, I love these thoughts. I think it'd be amazing.
All of these thoughts just came from the fact that I was confessing that it sucks having a headache today. At the same time that I have a headache, I am battling myself to change my negative story and my negative criticisms because I know I don't want to live like that anymore. So, the same time that I'm experiencing the headache, I am experiencing these thoughts. And thirdly, I am observing myself do both things. Wow, that's a lot of work.
That is a lot of work.
Is where, oh my God, I can't believe all of these things are coming together, which is where it brings me to the fact that today I could give myself the grace to just chill. I realized how much internal work I am doing since I woke up this morning. Oh, Lex, you actually don't have to criticize yourself because you are lifting a heavy mental and emotional spiritual load. And once we get through this, ooh, girl, imagine the explosion that is coming on the other side of this headache.
It's a great way to view it. I love it. You know, one of the things about having a TBI or a traumatic brain injury is it's not like when someone suffers from an illness that others can see, cancer or a broken leg or an arm. And really that's true of mental health. That's something people struggle with that we don't see. So when we see someone who has an injury, we have some empathy for them. Maybe not everyone has empathy for them, but even feelings for them. Whereas when we're dealing with something that others can't see, that sometimes even can escalate or make more difficult the struggles that we're facing. Recognizing the emotional work that you've had to do today since you got up. your natural tendency when feeling this way is, well, just push through it and do this. Natural tendency is to beat yourself up and talk like shit to yourself. And so recognizing those things and going, nope, I'm going to do something different, and observing that everything that you described so beautifully is work. That can wear us out. Even though neither of us today are having the greatest day, like we know what yours is. I'm not sure why mine. I feel like in my menopause phase, this hits me about once or twice a month where I literally just have a day like this that I can't focus on things. It is also hot here. I mean, I know it's hot in your state, but girl, it is hot here.
Actually,
I
my
do
nail
not-
tech today told me, he's like, it's the heat, because I told him I have a headache. And he's like, it's the heat, especially when you're going inside, outside, like super hot to the air conditioning, which totally believe it. That could make sense. I don't
Right.
know when it's being triggered by too much sound over the weekend or triggered by the heat, but regardless, my level of sensitivity to it is just that much worse.
Right.
Sorry. It is
But-
hot though. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. But then just recognizing we made this commitment to ourselves, we made this commitment to each other. We know that some who are joining us, maybe everyone who's joining us, and we hope those numbers are growing and more of you are in this community and sharing this space with us, have these days too, and have these feelings, and just knowing that at times it's showing up for yourself in that space and doing it from a space of love and grace, and however and whatever it is that you need to do to get through these kind of days, we get to do.
Yeah.
I know we had planned on having more conversation around women who inspire us and talking about that, but I feel like we've kind of covered a lot today, and this just might be a good one to leave alone and let lie, and let's revisit that another day.
Totally.
How do you feel about that?
That sounds great. Yeah, this was not where we expected to go, but it is exactly where we needed to be. And I love that. So thank you for this time and space.
Yeah, of course. You're welcome. And we hope this time and space is here for those who are joining us here on Evolving Truths podcast. And we'd love to hear from you. If any of this resonated with you or you have other thoughts, reach out and let us know.
Connection through conversation. Let's freaking go. Thank you all. We will see you soon.
Bye.
Whew. Those days can be tough. Thank goodness they are temporary and they do not last. The next time you're having your own off day, please remember that you are not alone. The Evolving Truths community is here for you. If today's conversation made you think about someone in your life, please share it with them. After you share this episode, follow the show wherever you are listening. And if we are totally your cup of tea, make sure you leave a 5-star rating and review. We'll be back next week. But until then, remember, life is beautiful and we are witness to its magic. Have a good one.
You are listening to the Evolving Truths podcast, produced and edited by Alexus Lopez, associate producer Shannon Day, recorded from the Corner Studio in conjunction with Alexus Rae Enterprises. The artwork for this project was created by Julie B. Salazar and is entitled Celebration from the Inner Landscape print series. For more information about Shannon and Alexus and to find ways to connect to this community, visit evolvingtruthspodcast.com.